Let me just check the audio. Can I hear some audio? There we go. Hello and welcome to the space between ideas. I'm Blaine Willis Gates, software developer extraordinaire, and I got a treat for you today. Let's jump right into it. So let's jump into our. This is gonna make that funky thing, but I just want to do it like this. I don't really want to do this actually. I want to do the entire screen. There we are. Okay. So we got the entire screen going. There we are. Now let's just check it out. So here we go. We used 555 for what requests out of your 500 monthly fast request quota. What happens after that? It slows down. We're not necessarily finished because check this out. So it says, all right. So this is what I've been doing like today. So it says next steps for MVP, immediate action, deploy MVP version, set up basic monitoring, set test to production environment. What does that even mean? What are you talking about, MVP? The MVP version provides a solid foundation for the client facing performance monitoring while maintaining simplicity and usability. It focuses on more critical metrics and provides immediate value to users. What? 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 And this guy is timed out. Oh, looks like we're past. All right, so let's just get this going. All right, so what is the current objective which we are working on, and what is the list of the next few objectives? Gordon, nobody wants to listen to you licking yourself. Hey, stop it. Why are you here? You want to say hi? Hold on. All right, go ahead and say hi. Say hello. Say hello, buddy. Say hello. What do you want? You're all wet. Were you in the river? Were you in the river, buddy? Huh? Were you in the river, buddy? All right. What? All right, let's get back into the full screen. He's gonna keep licking himself. The current objective we are focused on is the UI UX refinement. This objective involves ensuring that the application's interface is visually consistent, responsive, accessible. Our recent work is concentrated on establishing a robust design system, standardizing components, and successfully migrating the Vision module. We're now addressing responsive improvements, accessibility enhancements across all modules. The next few objectives on our roadmap are user testing and feedback, conduct comprehensive manual and automated testing, set up feedback channels to collect insights and identify usability issues, documentation and support, release infrastructure and deployment. Oh, we're getting close. Relief infrastructure. So, yeah, I mean, hey, give me a prompt for cursor to see what has been done and what needs to be done. Be exhaustive in your output because I have done a lot of work while you were sleeping last night. I wasn't sleeping. I'm a computer. I don't know how to sleep. Alrighty then. I need to produce a prompt for cursor to clearly outlines the word getting to see on receivers. Yeah, pretty excited about this. When I hit this thing, it's like your MVP version. I was like, what? The next step is what? To deploy MP version? I don't even know how to do that. I have no idea what that means because I've just been playing this game of dueling pianos. All right, cursor, please review the following comprehensive blah 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 blah. Style guide, this and that, accessibility in progress. I don't know what that other stuff is. And then cursor's gonna be like, dude, that is so yesterday. I did all of that already. All right, let him work on that. In progress, touch-based module migration. Work has started on replacing buttons and form fields with standardized components, component styling, and related responsive calendar. What calendar? Responsive and accessibility testing. Remaining tasks complete module migration. Migrate remaining modules. Verify that all modules specific customized. Finalize responsive fixes. Cursor's on slow motion. Cursor thinks I already used all 500 of my tokens. So what do you do? All right. So as you know, this is day 15 of the test. Okay. I'll help you review that. Ding. Ding. Oi. Oi. All right. It wants to just keep on doing this all day long. See, this is the thing. So, I watched some people making this stuff. Okay, please review the following detailed checklist, completed items. Documentation, testing, performance optimization, additional features. Implement theme customization options, develop component playground for testing and demonstration, create integrated enemy. I don't want additional features. Create a prompt to get cursor to work on remaining items. The additional features are outside of the scope of the MVP. Yeah, so I saw people they do their thing, right? They look at the environment. They look at the app, and then they update the app, and then they take a screenshot of the app, and they're like, hey, fix this, and oh, fix that, and oh, fix this and fix that. And I just got the impression there's not a lot of testing happening. They're not discussing best practices. They're not talking about what infrastructure is needed and necessary. They're not going through this list, documentation, testing, performance optimization, quality assurance, all this stuff, right? I mean, I just feel like it should be able to, you have to go through all of this stuff first and develop a robust set of robust architecture for everything that you want done. And then once it runs out of stuff to do, once I read it and it's all the stuff that it's telling me to do, it's stuff that I feel like it's maybe overkill. mean, maybe we've already reached the level of overkill. Maybe we've already gotten there. Maybe we got there a long time ago. But I feel like if it's gonna do some background like testing, some like behind the scenes testing first about just the software, the code, how it connects, what needs to be downloaded, what needs to be connected, what needs to be used, and like from a first principles perspective, from a like theory of coding perspective, then that's what I want to do. I want to go through all of those exercises. I'll help you create a detailed task list for MVP critical remaining items, please. Current state of the code base. Yeah. APA documentation for UI component. Create the new file. Prompts, interface, usage examples, etc. I don't even really know what these words mean. Migration process. I mean, like, at what point? What the heck is this? Set up Percy configuration in GitHub. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to tell you was it's like it made me connect to GitHub suddenly. It's like, hey, you need to connect to GitHub. And I was like, all right, sure, let's do it. I have no idea what any of this stuff is. Yeah, I found this. I created this new post when I don't want to do any thinking at all. Do tests and installations autonomously. That was one of them. I got it better and better. Work using best practices in a logical way. If you need authorization from me, you have it. I give you authorization. Don't ask. Don't ask for it. Don't ask for it anymore. Just do everything you need to do to finish the tasks. Work autonomously. Create a report of what you've done. Check all areas are complete. Complete any unfinished work. Recommend next steps. So I started using this one because once it like creates like a list of stuff it wants to do, it's like I just want it to work without having to like look again and look again and look again. I don't know, when you get this bit, when you have like a software program or software project that's this big, and it's like documentation. What's a visual regression test? What's performance monitoring? I have no idea what performance monitoring. Complete cross-browser testing. Okay, that makes sense. Finish accessibility audit, optimize component rendering. Okay. Maintain documentation, monitor performance, regular accessibility reviews. What is all this stuff? I'll work autonomously to complete the remaining tasks, starting with the highest priority items. Let me begin with the documentation tasks since they're foundational for other work. First, I'll create the API documentation for UI components. All right. Now I'll create the component migration guide. Like, I'm at the point where I'm kind of like, well, maybe I should take a look at things. I'm like almost there, like, because this stuff seems like it could be somewhat useful. Now we'll create the responsive design pattern documentation. See, and so like the idea is that right? Because I have all these. I got these screens, and I could just feed the screens into the computer, and then because I saw people doing this stuff, right? And then what they would do is they'll be like, "Oh, uh, like when I click this button, when I click the button called Vision, I want it to connect to this screen." And then when somebody enters text into these prompts, then clicks this arrow, then I want to navigate back to this screen. And I want that to be saved in here. And so like you could tell already that my project is much, much more complicated. Not from the perspective, I think, because I see people making games and it's like they're like, hey, I want to do a game that's like this and like this and like that. And I don't know, then it just creates some game. But when I created all my documentation and my screens, and when I explained to everyone what the project's all about, it's like, why is it taking me so long to create all this stuff? Visual regression tests. Yes. So next I'm gonna have to say yes 2 more times. Now we're back to dueling pianos, right? I don't know. What do I say? What do I do? All right, probably that's it for today then, because I mean I should do some documentation, add objectives above, add an objective above. All right, so objective. What is the objective? So I want to get to the point where everything is finished from my team seems to have run out of things to do perspective. For this MVP, now I need to take a look at the output and debug. Touch base. Oh, I didn't fix that scoreboard. Add the read scoreboard below. Where is the scoreboard? Here's one scoreboard. This isn't actually the scoreboard I want. This person will do this. So I think I want to change it. So the way I like to do it is this task, because then it's a task list first. Where's my scoreboard? It's here. This task and then status, right? Because we want to know, first thing we want to know is what's the status, and then the person that needs to do it, and the date. Looks like these guys are. Yes, it's still working. Okay, what is this called? Is this called a scoreboard? Now, this is an ancient idea, I remember the first time I heard about a scoreboard was from Stephen Covey, which is actually one of the one of the big boys, one of the real deals from old school scoreboard. And he said you have to have a scoreboard. Like, what's so fun about sports if you didn't have a scoreboard? And it helps us to understand that there's purpose. There's a purpose in all things. So the date probably. What if I could insert like a date? Where's my thing? Insert a date. What does it call it? Into the table. Useless. Is there something I can insert for people to select a date in a Google Doc? I don't see data menu. Use the data validation feature. Select the cell where you want to insert the date picker. Go to data menu and select data validation. I don't know. Okay, insert dates by typing at. Type at. Okay, there you go. Okay. What is the scoreboard? All right, so get everything. All right, get to the point where everything is finished. From my team seems to have run out of things to do. Perspective for this MVP. Now I need to take a look at the output and debug. Oh, there's two more. What a surprise! All right, scoreboard. All right, now this is the other thing. So, like right now, what am I actually doing? I'm just kind of managing the process between two AIs. The AIs are like they have access to all the information in the world, but they easily get off track. They try to implement things that they don't really need to be implementing. They add stuff that doesn't really need to be added. At some point, it just kind of starts saying stuff that shouldn't be said. And that's why I'm here, because at some point you have to realize that Yeah, they're just going to keep on going. They'll just never stop, and they'll go off focus. So that's the purpose of the guy in the middle. That's the purpose of me, is to make sure that, like, it makes some sense, even though I don't really understand what they're talking about. I mean, to some extent, I can. Please review the following list of remaining items. All right, what are these remaining items? Complete the APA documentation, add usage examples, finalize component migration guide, document responsive design patterns, implement visual regression tests. Isn't that what it's doing right now? Performance optimization, quality assurance, performance testing. And at some point, I just have to, like, call it, right? This is like a fight. This is an MMA fight between dueling pianos. And we need to get to the point where I'm confident that we should just stop it and take a look. But I don't want to call it before it's finished doing all of this testing and the documentation and just all these issues, right? Because that way it's just got everything it's supposed to have. And once it has everything it's supposed to have, then when I go and look at the user interface and I asked it to make some changes, then probably it'll know how to make the changes in all the necessary areas of the code. So yeah, I'm really stuck here with I created the scoreboard. I'm starting to see how the archive would be better than. Yeah, but the thing is that in the app I can scroll. So there's going to be a box. And within that box, that's where I'm going to be doing the scrolling. So that's why it's not so important for if I'm using an application, if I'm using a piece of software, because, like, I can only see this many items, so I can just scroll. And when I move it to archive, what I'm really saying is I'm trying to scroll. Wow, something happened to my cursor. It doesn't appear to like the word yes. So I'll just have to go back to this prompt. I'm going to restart everything. It's starting to have problems. I don't know if it's me or if cursor's just kind of, I don't know, at some point it just decides to stop working. I still have to make a decision about this issue about what happens when you've used all your tokens. I'm sure we're getting close to it. And most likely, yeah, I'm going to see what it means to do like a slow request because, I got other things I could be doing. I don't necessarily need to be sitting here and babysitting. And if I know it's going to be slow, then perhaps I could just go and do something else. It's already kind of slow. It's much slower than it used to be. I don't know if maybe there's just too many people using Cursor right now. Anyways, it's gone all retarded, and I don't know what to do about this. So what do we got? I just got this is saved in here. Add an objective above. I did so. Get to the point where everything is finished from my team seems to have run out of things to do perspective for this MVP. Now I need to take a look at the output and debug. Yeah, so probably from what I'm seeing right now, I would say it's most likely that I will not make another video until I'm ready to look at the user interface. Finally. Because what am I even doing right now? Like I don't know what any of this is actually saying. I don't know what much of it means. It's just kind of testing things and just making sure that things work properly. And you see, like test file for error message component. It's just it built all this stuff that is actually not in the products requirement document. And I didn't always read through all the prompts. So it's got a lot of stuff that might not be necessary, and then now it's testing stuff that might not be necessary, and it's doing things that might not be necessary. Here, look at that. Now let's update the GitHub Actions workflow to use the correct Percy action. See, that's what we were waiting for. It just connects to. Wait, what is it doing? Implement lazy load. All core components have comprehensive test coverage, including unit tests, visual regression tests, accessibility tests, component tests, Jest configuration, Percy configuration, GitHub Action workflow, test scripts, and package JSON. Performance optimization, implement lazy loading for non-critical components, set up performance monitoring, optimize rendering with this, documentation, quality assurance. Why not? I mean, there's some stuff in there that I don't necessarily think is 100% necessary. All right, so this, I guess now what's going on? Like we're at the point where I actually have to learn something because specifically this point here, it says set up performance monitoring, which means what? Does that mean I have to add stuff to this application? So this is an interesting point. I've developed, I'm very, very close to developing a user interface which is connected to a database with the code that has been developed between Cursor and ChatGPT. And it's the things that you don't know that are going to kill you. You don't even know that you don't know them. And so I've gone through this process with ChatGPT and Cursor to actually show them what the user interface should look like. And then I created the database behind all that. And then now we've connected it with this code. I mean, I think we've connected it with this code. I'm pretty sure we've connected it with this code. And then what we're going to start doing is we're going to start to create something that people can start using. Yeah, but then what? So there's this whole other side, which is like the business end. So this app, it's not just me providing some piece of software for people to use, but there also has to be some kind of back end dashboard that I'm able to look at. And then I had to think about what do you want to include in that back end dashboard? What is it that I want to see when people are using the app? Like, for example, do I want to be able to load anybody's project? So somebody says, "Hey, um, I did this thing and I want it to change somehow." Or, I mean, what are the options that they could do? What? So mostly it's about from the back end. I want to be able to fix things that need to be fixed. See, it's what I just said. It's the things you don't know that'll kill. You don't even know that you don't know them. I don't have any idea from right now, from the perspective that I have. Really, I just want this tool. I just want to be able to start using this tool because I have people that I coach. I have people that I work with already. I want to have this piece of software, and then I can just start using it with my coachees. And then, because once you have a tool, it's going to be helpful. Like, as you can see on my YouTube channel, like, I have this methodology. I created an online course. There's like, I want people to also to be able to use the thinking process, the coaching process that I use when I talk to people. And then the one of the key features of this coaching process is I could boil it down to this basic application, this process of helping people to create a project, understand the vision for that project, create objectives, do a daily follow-up with a touch base. And then once they're kind of on the way and doing the things which they need to start doing, then they can eventually go back and start doing uh what some brainstorming and really make sure that they're focused on what matters most. And then if they need to make a choice, then we also have the choose module. So we have all these modules. And I believe that these are the core functions that managers need to have in order to manage people. Once the reason that I created the online course was because I felt like a lot of people were having too much difficulty understanding the book Create Crucial Insight. And the online course, it gives people like a introductory way to jump into Tom's book. It gives people the opportunity to just start slowly with some baby steps about some ideas that are related to his book, and that will, if they can get through that first online course, then they'll be able to understand how to use his other tools. The purpose of this application is the same as that digital course. Once people are able to do this, once people understand how to do this process, then I can add extra modules. I can add another module. I can add two more modules. I can add more modules from Tom's book. See, this is what I did last time. I just kept just pasting this, and then it'll just work on the next item. And then once it finishes all the items, then it'll be like, oh, ding, your MVP is ready. Yeah, so that's the whole point, is that I'm trying to create this piece of software. And once everyone's kind of used to this, once they get used to this, then I'll be able to start adding other aspects of the application. And that's on this other side. It's over here. And I haven't built any of it yet. There's a couple of ideas that I have. And the reason is because in Tom's book, I feel like on the right-hand side, this is the functional aspect. It's the operational aspect of how people get work done. And then so people get work done by creating projects, by creating objectives, by following up daily, understanding the vision. And then when they get stuck, then I help them to brainstorm. And when people have alternative ideas for what should be done, then I help them to make a decision. And that's the foundation of all progress in a business, maybe even in life. And if you can show me that you're a manager, if you can show me you can manage a project using this methodology, this is the simplest methodology out there, then you'll probably get, higher. You're going to get promoted to a higher position in the company. One potential area where you could be hired is to start analyzing the performance of the team. And it could be about analyzing, do they have the right desires? Do they have enough of the right data? Are they making the right assumptions? Do they have access to the right resources? And so I can start to build stuff based on this idea of team performance. And then we also have this other concept of team composition and also team synergies. And these are two different ideas. Synergies, it's like, what are all the different elements out there which we could use to put on our team? So this is like deciding what to do, and then this is deciding who to do it with. Right. So if I'm the CEO, I would look at like all the resources. So for example, if I was a CEO, I would look at the resources, I would look at the data, and I would look at the purposes that we have within all of our synergies. Synergies could include things like customer segments, employee functions. We got two customer segment boxes, business services, providers, tools, partners, like all the stuff that business is made from. There's people that are doing all of these things. And this is like the paint. When a painter is looking at a canvas, they're going to look at what paints are available. And then they're going to think about how they're going to combine those paints in order to start painting. Right? So that's the synergy. We're trying to find synergies based on the types of team members that we have. Now, once we understand a synergy, that's like almost like creating a project. All right. So now, in this sense, we're also creating a project. And then once we have a project, we want to get that project done. But from a manager's perspective, it's like once we see a project, then what we want to do is we want to put the right people onto the team. All right. Maybe we can, this is a view only. So, all right. So we need to create a project. We need to look at our what we have available. And we're going to create a project, which means who is going to be on the project. And then we go deeper into like what actually each person needs to do in that project. And then we have the project performance. Now, I have other lesson, like my online course is just the first one. So once I finish the first online thing, that's why it's going slow, because my internet connection is a little bit slow because I'm streaming. All right. So after you finish the first online course, which is basically teaching you this cycle, it's called the Endeavor cycle, in fact. See, the Endeavor cycle, iron out those brain wrinkles. So, from a philosophical perspective, you can you can see. So, in my course, what I do is first I show you like the game pieces. What are all the different pieces that you need to understand to play the game? And then I show you that like planning and then doing the plan, planning and doing the plan. It's like a cycle. And then what are we planning and what are we doing? It's based on our potential. It's based on achieving some kind of vision. And then the aspects of potential are here. These are the elements of potential. And then it turns into basically four steps. So this little two-stroke engine turns into three elements, and then the three elements, one of the three elements is made from three pieces, and then it makes a four-stroke engine. Once you have the four-stroke engine, then we start to try to understand a little bit more about force fields analysis, and then we create this what. So the four-stroke engine is in black, and then the six-stroke engine or the two-stroke engine is in red, and then the six-stroke engine is in white. All right, so we got this pattern of performing the action. So what's perform action based on here? Perform action in here is the scoreboard because it's status. All right, so recognize outcomes. Where's recognize outcomes? Recognized outcomes is also status. All right. And then, all right. So what's take inventory? Take inventory is not here. Take inventory is based on these elements. Take, good, quiet. Ba- Taking inventory is like, what are the resources we have? What's the data and assumptions we have? What are the purposes we have? This is what it means to take inventory. It means, what are the results from previous endeavors? What are other things that people have done? What's going on? What are best practices? And then it's also about like the synergies. Let's take some, what kind of synergies do we have? And then we optimize inventiveness. So when we optimize inventiveness, one way to do that, to optimize inventiveness, go, stop it. One way to optimize inventiveness is to use this little checklist here. So we're okay. Apply performance optimization to critical components. Implement code splitting. Add caching and strategies. I have no idea what that is. Why can't you lick yourself somewhere else? Gordon, can you lick yourself somewhere else? All right, where were we? Optimize inventiveness. All right, so you can see that taking inventory, what we're doing is we're looking at the map of the terrain. The map of the terrain. What I mean is over here. So what's all the data? What's the resources? What's the assumptions? What are the purposes? And then what are the synergies? All right, and then okay, so then we need one of these boxes, and we need to put it back over into this section right in between here. So the flow is, who is this? It's me. Just licking the couch. Gordon, I'm gonna go crazy. Now he's gonna scratch. It's team account, and I'm not. Oh, I put it in the wrong one. Just don't say view only. All right. So what we're talking about is we're talking about recognized outcomes. Now, if you're going to, it's the output of all this. It's like it's a finished project. All right. So we have a finished project, and then what are we going to do? If you want to do a finished project, you have to do some kind of performance review. And based on whatever, I don't know, based on what the best players in the market are doing. Or if you're the best player in the market, you can also check out what you're doing. There's actually like another way to look at this. There you go. There's like a whole unit on recognize outcomes. So we're talking about people and performance. Now, if we're going to do people and performance, then if we just focus on Tom's work, then we need people to use the Buchholz drive model. This is what it said last time. Now, the thing is that most people, they can't really understand the Buchholz drive model very easily, at least not from like the first time they see it. So that's why I broke it down into all these different pieces and I create this lesson. So basically what I want to know is like level of effort. I want to know the level of effort, and then I need to know the level of success, which is based on people and performance. And then I need to know the level of optimization and the level of automation, which is talking about your systems and your work styles. So one is people and one is systems. One is performance and one is work styles. And we want all green. We want to be everything in here. But it doesn't magically work like that. So usually what we do is we have to pinpoint where in the organization, like what element of leadership are we talking about? Are we talking about people at the very beginning of the leadership process? Or are we talking about that are like on the floor, people who are measuring performance? Now, the thing is that you could actually measure the performance of anybody. What's being done? How is it being done? Right? So that's what we're talking about. What's being done and how is it being done? And where's that going to be? All right. So recognizing the outcome is the first thing is we want to what is being done and how is it being done? So to answer that question, we can go to here. We can ask questions like this, the level of effort. And now this is trying to understand that usually the level of effort that you get out of people is going to be related to like how well you've matched the person to the actual job. But it's difficult to bring that into an application right now. So when I talk to students about it, it's like a long conversation where we talk about openness and conscientiousness. We talk about Fogg's motivation model. We talk about avoider and seeker behavior. We talk about why I left Canada and why I went to China. And then we talk about levels of success. then Gordon starts licking himself again. Gordon, I'm not happy about this. I don't know why you decided to do that right now. Yeah, now you're going to sit next to me and do the same thing. All right, so now we have the level of effort and level of success. Once you have the level of effort and level of success, then you can understand the Buchholz drive model. And the Buchholz drive model is going to give you like your current, where you are currently. So what you're going to do with the Buchholz drive model is we want to know, like, where are you 0 to 10 of your level of effort? Where are you in your level of whatever this is, level of success? And then where do you want to go? So from where to where? And I don't have that one in here anymore. Why did that get taken out? It's at the very bottom. No, it's not at the very bottom. Yeah, here it is. All right, so this is basically what you're going to do in a performance review using the Buchholz drive model. All right, so that's one unit, is about performance. Now, after you finished your performance review, recognize outcomes for people, then we're going to go into the work styles. Okay, so also there's work styles. I forgot about that. We got recognize outcomes. The output that we want looks like this, which is based on this, and you want to do this and this in order to get to this. And then the output is actually this. So they don't necessarily need to look at the output first. We need to do this and this in order to do this, in order to do this, and then the end result is this. But then we also have our systems. Now, when we're looking at our systems, then we want to understand So we're talking about guiding interactions, we're talking about exciting motivations, we're talking about involving resources. And to be consistent, oh yeah, I remember that. So in the second unit, we want to look at the value chain of the process value chain. Now, one question I have is, if we're going to be talking about process value chain, are we still talking about this? Are we still talking about what's being done and how? Yes, we're still talking about what's being done and how it's being done. And then we have two different directions, this one and this one, which then it goes back to the same area. And in this one, we're going to be talking about level of efficiency. And there's three basic units. There's this one. There's this one. And there's this one. I don't even think it's doing anything anymore. This is exactly what it said last time. Wait, you stop. What the heck was that? Create video tutorials, add interactive demos, create performance benchmarks, add more usage examples, set up automated performance testing, optimize bundle size. All right. So it keeps adding one to the end. All right, get this out of the way. All right, I got pictures for all this stuff. So we're going to put it back into here. And once we talk about this, then we're going to be doing this one. Now, this is like benchmarking, definitely benchmarking, because you're looking at other people's processes. You're trying to figure out what processes need to be improved. And then you're looking at how to automate and optimize processes. And all that's going to bring you back into here. All right, so that's the next app. Excuse me. What's this? Yeah. Now, once you finish that, then we're going to go to take inventory. Now, take inventory is going to be, okay, so there's my performance app. Now, I would say performance app, it's likely the performance app it's not actually on the left side, it's actually on the right side. So this would be another mid-level manager function. All right. Now, once you finish that, then we're going to go back into the Endeavor cycle, and we're going to be talking about taking inventory. Taking inventory is about, so quick. Taking inventory is about this section. So we could say this is take inventory. And then in inventory, I want to look at that. And then I want to do this next for take inventory. And then we'll have a map of the terrain. Next, we want to optimize inventiveness. And we have something for inventiveness already. It's this. So we want to duplicate this. And that's going to be optimized inventiveness. I don't even know what it's doing anymore. It's just running around in circles. All right, so now after we optimize inventiveness, we're going to question assumptions. Now, the thing is that this form of inventiveness, it's not like the other one. This form of inventiveness, we want to create a team. So the result of take inventory, the result of optimize inventiveness is to create a project team. And this is where our project team is. Why is it doing that? There. All right, now I want it to look like this. So we got plan, impact, and perform action. So this is the section. This is the app that I'm building right now. And then after that is the recognize outcomes. And the recognize outcomes is here. Then after they finish recognizing outcomes, all right, so let's make it into a circle. And then after they recognize the outcomes, then they're going to take inventory. Taking inventory is here. And then after they take inventory, then they're going to optimize. What does that say? Optimize inventiveness, which is going to do all of this stuff. It's going to create a team based on a project. And this is going to see, this is about potential. Then this is putting the team around that potential project. And then here you make the plan, then you do the action, and then you measure, recognize the outcomes and measure. There. So we got one app that we're doing right now. We got a second app which we could build next. We got a third app here, and then we got, is that going to be connected? These two seem like they have probably a closer connection. I think this could be a standalone. It could be added. Anyways, so I'm just brainstorming here, and I just wanted to get some ideas on paper. This is the first version. This is from an email that Tom sent me 10 years ago, where he was explaining like the elements that you would have in an application. And then this was me when I was trying to use some templates and try to put those templates together and create something. And then this is what we're doing now. All right, well, I don't know. I guess it's probably too long of a video. And the whole time, all I wanted to know was where we are. Is there anybody out there? All right, I'm just going to keep working on this all afternoon, and we'll talk to you later. So thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you later. And, well, I'm not going to repeat myself again.